Hello, good morning. Good morning
Good
and welcome
morning. Good morning, sir.
to this live session.
Good morning. Yeah.
Good morning, Professor Saji sir.
Very good morning. I can see participants signing in, more people joining. Okay, so at the moment, you can keep your audio in mute mode so that there is no distraction. And I will try address your questions in this session, and I do not have a presentation as such. And then subsequently, I will open for more questions if you have towards the end. Okay, so that's the plan. So first of all, thank you for signing in this program, uh, this course on AI for management. So as the title suggests, this is actually not a course on AI, but AI as it is applied or as it is used in management as a discipline. Okay, so also you should notice that it is not AI for business, but it is AI for management. Okay, so you can always wonder what's the difference between management and business. So they are different, right? So business uses management, but business is not the only entity that can use management principles or management frameworks, management theories, can also be applied to other entities like the government, okay, for example, or not-for-profit organizations, or even communities could apply and should apply management to function efficiently and effectively. Therefore, management is a broader name than business, and that's why I chose it. And you can see that it's not only business that is using AI, but non-business as well. For example, there is a case study of ePervoy in this course, which is actually a government agency trying to address a social problem, okay, a problem related to health by adopting AI in some way. Okay, so you can see how they organize or how they build capabilities to address this problem. So therefore, management has to be seen as a broader perspective. And second aspect of the course, as you must have noticed, is it's not about AI learning. It's not a course for learning technology. There are many other courses and many other resources you can use to learn AI technology. Okay. However, to get started, there is an introduction to AI core technology, which is the learning algorithms or the neural networks, which are sort of the brain of the AI systems. Oftentimes, although widely the differences are is matter of interpretation sometimes. For example, ML, AI and ML are used together. Machine learning is not restricted to neural networks alone, but there are other algorithms also which are in ML. So AI can use ML, and then actually it's not the neural networks alone. But in particular, if you look at recent developments like the LLMs and the vision models, they're all built on the capabilities of the artificial neural networks and the gradient descent algorithm, etc. So which we discussed in the beginning itself. So that is to give a fair understanding or a reasonable understanding of what is AI technology and how it evolved, and as an engine, what are the components of it, and how the machine can be trained to actually learn, and then also that learning can empower the machine not only to assist human efforts but also to to take decisions of its own, okay, which we today call agentic AI. Machine as an agent is also another aspect of AI. So all this, when it is viewed from a management perspective, what does it mean? How does it how do this machine capabilities translate into decision making capabilities in an organizational context? Okay, that is the main theme of this course. So that's a way to look at the details of the course. So if you actually have credited this course to learn about AI, then it will be very limited. But if you actually want to understand what is AI in the organization, then this course is going to really sort of help you get started. Okay, so that's the premise. Okay, so with that introduction, I request all of you to keep your mic muted. Okay, we'll look at the questions that are in front of me, which you have shared already. So I will go one by one. Okay, so one question is you are explaining about the importance of data for the AI to work. Can AI work without data? Unlike human intelligence, does not require a data to decide for some cases rather than based on intuition? So the plain answer to this question is no. Okay. A firm 100% no. Okay. But um, how does AI take decision? Okay. Is it based on data? Um, if you just look at a system that is actually helping you make investment decisions, for example, okay, you actually input a particular set of data, and it actually help you um, actually get a response from the machine. For example, you ask a question to your favorite chat GPT, and it actually responds to your question and gives an output. Okay, so but there's a way in which the system has processed your input, which is your prompt. Okay, and that is based on its brain, and its brain is developed using data. It is trained using data, so it's very similar to how human brain develops. Okay, over right from a one cell when you are actually a zygote, or when you are formed, conceived, to when you become 3 year old or 5 year old, you have huge volumes of data already collected from the environment through experiments. Okay? And that is what trains your brain. Okay, so you're a decision maker because your brain is trained using data. And the concept of intuition, intelligence, etc., are related. But even intuition is a function of how much exposure you have actually got to the world. Okay? And that input data, okay, from the world is what has made your brain capable of making judgments or intuitive statements, etc. Okay, so they are related, but in to summarize, machine decisions do not come as a a logical decision which is programmed. Okay, that is the difference. Okay, there are programmed machines where you program the rules. Okay, that is the typical the software driven systems, whereas in AI, you of course have a structure, okay, which is called the neural network structure, but it decides its parameters based on data. Okay, so hence the the system is different from typical logic driven systems of the past, like even expert systems of the past, where based on logic or okay inference engine, where actually you program the rules. Okay, so it's not programming based in that sense. But you will see in the course that certain extent of programming, like programming a guardrail as to what it should not do, okay, can be done within the system. So that is one aspect. Okay. So we move to the next question. I don't know who asked this question, whether I hope I clarified. All right. Second question was, what are the current challenges of AI regarding its performance? I suggest that you wait for sessions that are coming up. So AI performance, um, there are two aspects to it. Perhaps you are referring to um, the AI versus non-AI. If I look at the you have actually, so I have said from a online resource which actually keeps updating AI's performance in certain areas like translation, um, and image recognition, etc. And based on that, how AI performance has exceeded human performance. And I have given a reference to that site, and that is something that it's very dynamic. Okay, so you can actually keep referring to it so that you get updated information about how AI versus human performance um, are actually changing with time. Okay, but performance is a very broad term, therefore I don't get into other meanings of that term, since your question is related to AI versus human performance, related to the discussion we had in the course. Okay. Third question, is there a possibility of incorporating both explanatory and predictive modeling in AI? If done, which area of business it would extremely benefit? So I think you are referring to a particular discussion we had in this course about modeling and how models are built. So-called ML models are built for different types or different purposes, different objectives. Okay, some models can be descriptive, some could be explanatory, some be predictive, some could be prescriptive or optimizing. Today, they also talk about causal, in the sense experiments and other methodologies to infer causal relation between input and output. So that is another type of model. So all this is coming from, I would say broadly from methods or methodology available for data analysis. Okay. Now that is a broad discussion, and I'm not exactly fitting this into AI. AI applications, can be explanatory purpose based on where you deploy it, can be for predictive purpose. As to, I have several examples of how AI is used for, say, um, which variable is, or which aspect is more important, which factor is more important in a particular application. This is what typically explanatory models do. Whereas predictive models do not really worry about weight of each factors, but it actually try to exactly or accurately predict, given a particular training data, what is going to be the output for a given input, which is different from the training data. Okay, so now to be specific on the explanatory part, actually we are going to discuss the explainable AI later in this course. Okay, so you will understand that AI models, typically the neural networks, are actually black box models, and therefore you cannot see a mathematical function in the model. Okay, but the trained AI model actually is a network, interconnected, multi-layered network. Okay? And therefore, this is very complex, and you cannot comprehend it, you cannot even interpret it. But explanation is something that is important, because when AI takes decisions, decision makers need to know what is the basis for the decision. Okay, because you work with people. So that is called explainability problem, which we are going to address later in this course. Okay, so you can hold on till that. But so the broad statement is AI models are not explained, in the sense there is no comprehensive, or there is no interpretable symbolic model there using a mathematical function, easily understandable. It doesn't exist. Okay, they are black box, and hence you actually try to build a parallel model to interpret models' decisions, and that is called explainable models, which we will be addressing a little later in this course. Okay, then there is a question: what is the role of feedback in the diagram? Is it referring to human in the loop? Well, that particular diagram which you are referring to is taken from literature, and this diagram actually gives a broader view, okay, of how AI systems function. For example, humans or individuals or organizations or society function, and within their function there are certain phenomena. Okay, there are things that happen. Okay, and for example, recruitment in an organization, recruitment can be seen as a phenomenon. Okay, phenomenon of interest to the humans or the organization. Okay, and now. So this phenomena requires has involves certain problem, okay, and involves certain decisions, okay, and in order to do that, what you do is in order for the problems to be addressed, you collect some data, or the phenomenon actually a lot of data. Okay. And is someone talking? I will request you to switch off, mute your microphones. And that data is the source of learning for models. So you can see the connectivity between data and models here. Model is abstract in nature. In particular, in neural networks, you can see there is a topology or a structure, okay, of the neural network, which you can design. Okay? This is something that you design. But just having a skeletal, it doesn't have flesh or blood. Okay? It doesn't become live. Okay? For it to become live or take decisions or start speaking or start responding to your questions in LLMs, you need training data. Okay, that data comes from the particular phenomenon of interest. You train it and then you deploy it. Suppose you train an LLM model for customer complaints. Okay, or what do you call in marketing as a chatbot to resolve complaints. Okay. So when you deploy it, since it's a trained model, okay, so it may actually be doing well certain categories of questions. It may actually be not doing well for something else. Okay, so therefore you need to take feedback from the final end users. Okay, end users could be individual decision makers. It could be organizations. So that is the feedback loop that is shown here. Model is trained and is deployed. Okay, and action is taken based on the model. Okay, and when you do that, the model performs or underperforms. Okay, so based on that feedback, we need to correct the model. Okay, so therefore that is the purpose. So so it's a closed loop between model and the individual. Okay, so that is what is depicted in the diagram. It is actually borrowed. It's not my own diagram. And the role of feedback is to improve the model based on its performance. Okay. Okay, next question is, can we say deductive as supervised learning and inductive and abductive as unsupervised learning? Answer is no. These are two different uh, things. Okay, inductive versus deductive is how you build models. Okay, you can build a model purely by logic or derivation. Okay, that is pure logic from first principles. The other is you can build a model using abduction or induction. Abduction is, in one sense, combination of both, but induction is purely what patterns exist in the data. Okay, you don't have an a priori model. Okay, but you discover the model from the data. That is induction. Okay? So that is one way of looking at systems. The other is supervised versus unsupervised is about how within the induction, okay, within the inductive paradigm, how you actually develop models. Sometimes you may have a target variable, sometimes you do not have. Okay, so models can be built using both the approaches depending on the nature of the problem, okay, or depending on availability of data, etc. Okay, so supervised versus unsupervised, in other words, is within the inductive method of learning, or abductive, because abductive also includes induction. Hope that is clear. Next question, how the difference in target output and actual output is calculated if it is not mathematical, that is TD minus OD, or target versus output. I hope that is what you meant. Can't be numeric. Okay, so I think you are actually getting into the inside dynamics of a model. Okay, so ultimately when you are training a model, there is a calculation, okay, involved, but that calculation of what the TD is and what the ODE is depends on the nature of the problem, nature of the variable, or that you actually define as an output variable. Okay, and please keep in mind, data means numeric data to any model. Okay, and that is what I explained. Even in LLMs, you start with textual data, but you can see textual data is transformed into numbers at the end of the day as vectors. Okay, therefore, all that is happening in an engine of AI is actually numeric calculations. Keep that in mind. There is no textual calculations or textual conversations happening within the machine. Okay, do not ever imagine that a machine is something which can understand only numbers, okay, and logic, okay? And hence that's what a computer is. Okay? And I don't think that has changed in my understanding. I'm not saying it will not change, but computation is based on numbers, and even language is converted into vectors or numbers, and calculations are done based on matrices or vectors and vector differences, etc. Okay. All right. Let's move on. How can be the transfer function determined for a given application? Is it always a perception? It is not perception. Oh, sorry, you have written it as uh, is it always as in perceptron? Okay, so the choice of transfer function actually um, is something that is in the hands of the developers or the developers of the AI system or the AI model. When you train a model, when you actually design a neural network, this is something the developer can actually choose. Okay? So it's in that sense something which is a part of the design spec of the network that is then used or then sort of get trained. Its parameters are determined and its hyperparameters are used for deciding or training the parameters in an efficient way. Training the network in an efficient way. Parameters is what you actually determine at the end. And hence, the transfer function, which is explained in the session, is actually an output of a neuron. It is the output of the neuron is transferred from a summing junction or a summing um, point to an output point through the transfer function, and therefore the output uh, is not only a function of the input and the weights, but it is also dependent on the transfer function. And the transfer function, choice of transfer function um, can be determined based on the learning algorithm that you are using, and nature of the problem, whether you are using a classification, you have a classification problem, or you are working with a regression model, etc. Okay, or that kind of a problem that you are working on. Okay, so there are certain general guidelines for the choice of transfer functions, which I explained in the session. For example, if it's a feed-forward multi-layered neural network, which is what I explained in the session, then there is a guideline that the the output transfer function should be linear, and the hidden layer transfer functions can be a choice like a sigmoid or a hyperbolic tangent or tan h. It could be also be a ReLU model, which is actually a rectifier. If some of you are familiar with rectifiers, there is something called a rectifier function where there is a full sinusoidal function. When it passes through a ReLU, which is known as rectified linear unit, when it passes through that, it becomes only positive um, half of the sinusoidal functions, or it is rectified. The negative half is actually filtered out. That has been found to be very effective in training feed-forward neural networks. So this is from available literature that we have this guidelines. Okay, but what I am describing to you is not exhaustive in nature, or it doesn't apply to every context. Okay, I'm only giving guidelines that can be applied for feed-forward networks, which is used in actually giving you an early understanding of neural networks, and it is limited to that context. Okay, so please do not take it as whatever is explained for perceptron applies to all kinds of neural networks or LLMs or etc. That is not the purpose. Okay. All right. Um, the next question is, how come these come under AI? Um, these are cloud services, IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, etc. How come this is AI? I think I'm not sure if you listen to the lecture. Um, so um, this is of course taken from another resource. This particular lecture, it's actually a published paper, but here the authors are actually referring to how AI business models actually can be developed. It's not AI models. Okay, so please keep in mind when I use the term model in the context of AI technology, it refers to a neural network or a machine learning model. Okay, that is analytical in nature. But when it comes to business models, as I have explained in the session, it is a very different concept. Okay, that is a model for doing business. Okay? How can you actually, for example, deploy AI? Okay? You want to host it in your own premise, or you want to host an AI in a third-party um, data center or service center. Okay, and how this can be done? AI can function software as a service. AI services can be platform as a service. So these different models in terms of deployment do exist, and that is what I am referring to. Okay, so therefore AI is not SaaS, but AI can be deployed as SaaS. Okay? That is the meaning. So the next question is, what is the difference between AI and traditional IT systems? I think in response to the first question, I already explained. There is actually program-driven software versus learning algorithms-driven software, which is actually continuously learning from data. Okay, that is what AI is, and hence it is very different. Okay, so for example, an AI's performance would keep will be dynamic, as with more data it will actually learn to do better, so this is not the case with traditional software, which is actually deployed and running from certain servers, and it does what is pre-programmed functions. Okay, and nothing more it can learn. So therefore they are very different in terms of how they function. Okay, then there is a question about how can managers make decisions about adopting AI in organizations. Well, I think this is the purpose of the session, wherein I think I have given several examples of AI as from the point of view of AI users or user organizations, from the point of view of AI as from the supply side, or AI, those tech companies which actually produce this AI solutions. So that is the producer organizations, and then you may be somewhere in the middle, facilitating AI or enhancing AI, etc. So there are multiple scenarios where AI decision making context can come, and this you can pay attention to the subsequent sessions also to understand decision making context of AI in organizations and the challenges thereof. Okay. Then there is also some suggestions from the audience. Of late, the AI industry combines 5 types of AI professionals: symbolists, connectionists, evolutionaries, Bayesians, and analogizers. Well, this can be added, and of course, a simple search in the Google or your favorite Gen AI tool will actually explain what each of this term mean. And I therefore don't want to spend time on explaining what is evolutionary or Bayesians or probabilistic models or analogizers. Okay. I do not also, I'm not sure about the academic foundations of this terms, but I'm sure symbolist versus connectionist did exist through the evolution of AI. They are very clearly understood. Okay. Like in lecture, AGI could have human level intelligence, was it is possible that it will also have emotion, same as human being. Or if any sort of work given to AGI, um, does it perform emotionally or just by command of its owner? Or if AGI is created, who will own it? Normal people, companies, or the government? Okay. Um, so this is actually a big question. I don't think I can answer this question. Question is about AGI or artificial general intelligence. Um, so this is about machines which will not only do certain specific tasks for which it is trained, but like the human brain, it will actually become more general and able to take decisions about multiple things like human beings, or it will actually substitute human brain the way we are, okay? The way we are general in nature. Okay, that is a future challenge, which is understood by the community, AI community, which could be a existential risk. So in the beginning of the course, I talk about it, and I also will be introducing a certain regulation. I have referred to it in the beginning, and it will again be discussed in responsible AI towards the end of this course. Maybe you will get additional information when it comes to regulation. Uh, so maybe one could wait till then, but I don't think I'm answering your questions as to who will own it, etc., because these are still evolving. Now there is a question on ISO standards related to AI are many. ISO IEC 42001 2023, OWASP LLM top 10 is another popular topic for AI risk. Then we have NIST AI risk management framework updated in January 2026. May I know when you will include these topics in the course? Very much. We have a discussion on AI risk, and that is you have to wait till then. So most of what you have mentioned here is discussed there. Please wait. But ISO standards have also evolved, and that is not there in the discussion, and you have highlighted this, but you will get more understanding as you go. What are the negative aspects of AI? Well, that is about AI bias. So you have to wait for subsequent modules and lectures to come up, and then you will actually learn about AI risk, okay, AI bias, and therefore we have the discussion of the responsible AI. Okay. And there are questions related to career, and then therefore these are not questions that I can simply answer. How can knowledge from this course be applied to real world careers or higher studies? Okay. Well, you have signed in for this course, and then okay, you are responsible for your decision. So keep searching. Okay, today job search is very much facilitated by the professional network like the LinkedIn. So you must be constantly looking for what opportunities exist, what kind of competencies are organizations looking for, and therefore no one course can inform you everything about AI. This course is for management or business applications, and hence that is a competency you will develop after doing this course and see where it fits in terms of job opportunities. Okay? And maybe wait to complete the course or do 75% of the course, and then you may develop better understanding. And I will open this question to the audience as well as to how they are benefiting. Others may be able to answer your question better than me. And now, sir, how can beginners start learning artificial intelligence step by step? And what skills are most important to focus on first? Okay. Well, this is also a tough question to answer. In order to make AI understandable to a general audience, this course actually introduces AI technology in as simple and as uh, general language as possible in the introductory sessions. And if you still have difficulty in understanding what is AI technology, then maybe an introductory course on on uh, data analysis or statistics can help you, because data analysis is fundamental. Then in order to learn neural networks or computer algorithms, you may have to do an introductory course on computer algorithms, where they may be explaining different types of algorithms, including the the learning algorithms or the neural networks as well. And then also come do the introductory part of this course. And there'll be something more that is coming up in this course on technology, like the prompt engineering, vibe coding, etc. So you would be getting a little more knowledge. But in this course, since I address people from management background and not from people from technology background, I'm trying to make it as friendly as possible to a general audience. Okay. All right. Finally, if the course focuses mainly on theory, how will we be able to apply this to knowledge in practical situations? For example, if I go for a job interview and I'm asked how I would use AI in management, how can I demonstrate real world application if I've only studied the theory? Could you please clarify how this course supports practical day to day use? Okay. I think this way of seeing theory and practice are two compartments which have no relation is a very flawed understanding. You perhaps have to understand what is theory. Okay. Scholars have said that sound theory leads to sound practice. Okay. So you may solve one problem using some intuition that you have. Okay. But doesn't mean that next problem comes, you will be able to use the same intuition. Okay. But what a theory tries to do is to give you certain abstraction or certain general understanding of how to solve problems. Okay. And hence, you will be able to apply that theory when a similar problem context comes. Okay, so theory is something that is actually a knowledge solve problems. Okay, see it that way. So the way you have understood theory is that theory is of no use in practice. That is not correct. Okay, it is sound knowledge that help you address problems systematically without, without leaving any significant factor or component that is important in addressing that problem. Okay, so that is the understanding you need to have about a theory, and theory and models are different. So if I say a model, say for example, a regression is not a theory, but it's a model. But just take a regression model as an example to sort of address your problem. Suppose you want to sort of um, predict something, so sales forecasting. Okay, so you want to do sales forecasting based on historic data. Okay, you can build a machine learning model like a regression model. Okay, and then you can predict. You can build the parameters of that model, and then input a particular year's sales and forecast what is the sales, or not a year, a month's sales, and forecast what is going to happen next month. Okay, now the question is, what is the use of this course if I don't know how to apply? Okay, what does it mean? Okay, you need to learn regression first to tell someone how this model is predicting. Okay, otherwise you see the world as a black box. You only know the input and the output, and you don't know what is a phenomenon, or what is actually mapping the input to the output. Okay, that is conceptual or theoretical knowledge. Okay? That is imparted through courses like this, so that you know what the model does, what the model is capable of, what are the limitations of the model, and why those limitations exist. Okay, that's called knowledge. Okay? And so, in other words, AI for managers is actually imparting certain knowledge and skills. Okay, the skill part is the application part, which is actually dealt in this course through case studies, through certain problem solving sessions, etc. That is pure skill that you're developing to apply. But knowledge is what you require to apply. Okay? So that is why we spend a lot of time actually explaining concepts. Okay, so that is the discussion on your questions that I have already received. And it is possible that you have more questions to ask me. So I will leave it open for you to ask me more questions. So there may be questions that is coming through the chat box or the, let me look at that. Okay. Okay, let me go from the beginning and try to get back to you. Okay, welcome back. Let me again um, go back to the chat box and look at your questions. So there's a question from Mohan Kumar. Would you be able to throw throw little light on how data gets stored for AI? Okay, this is about data management for analytics or AI, which is today known as data engineering, because you need large systems, both software and hardware resources to store data, okay, and also make it available for training. Okay, so there are, I'm not giving a very informed answer to this question because this is just coming up. Otherwise, I would have um, looked at this more systematically. But from an immediate response would be that the non-SQL. Okay, so there is structured data, there is unstructured data. Structured data is in enterprise databases or data warehouses. They are in database form, but then there is the non-SQL, which is the non-unstructured data, like the text or video, etc., which is actually a large chunk of data for training neural networks. They are actually managed in distributed way in non-relational format known as big data management. You must have heard about systems like Hadoop, which is both for managing this kind of data in the form of data lakes, not in the form of structured database servers. And they are also as a system like Hadoop is not only used for data management, but also for data analytics. Okay, so there are so in some there is data management, data engineering um, aspect for AI. AI is finally what consumes the data. So, but storing and making data available for AI is a separate engineering task for which there is technology. Okay. All right. Sir, would you be sharing lecture material to help us prepare for the exam? Also, apart from lecture material, is there anything else we should refer to for the exam? Okay. So I think you've been given the detailed course outline with the useful materials. So many of them are available online. For example, a book that I refer to in the course is actually available online. I think I referred to it earlier itself. Um, so that is a book, Kennels and Hugh Camp. It's an edited volume, and the authors have put the PDF version of that book online at the moment. You can search for it. And a lot of materials are searchable when you actually go through the lectures. Okay. And wherever I use a particular material, a reference to that material is already given. And hence, you have to go and search that material yourself. Okay, because we cannot supply all the materials on the online platform or the Swayam platform. But the lecture material or the slide used is anyway available to you when you actually go through the lecture. In addition, you also get lecture notes at the end, which will be provided by NPTEL, and the NPTEL admin would be more uh, right uh, people to answer this question about how much or in what way lecture materials will be made available to the audience. How can you ensure Sanjit's question, bias data are not included during training of ML? Okay, again, you may wait for the subsequent sessions on AI bias and how this can be addressed. We discuss this in detail, okay, in the forthcoming sessions. We want the lecture material to prepare for the exam. Okay, so same question. Maybe the NPTEL team can also answer how the lecture audio will also be made available in the text format. There is an effort going on in that direction as well. But the videos along with the slide that is used is anyway available. I have a question from testing perspective. While automating using an AI tool, it suddenly got stuck. How can we proceed to the next level? Is it possible to continue with manual testing whenever we encounter difficulties with automation? No. I will not answer this question because I do not know the context, what AI tool you are referring to. If it's a commercial tool, we have no idea what is inside it. Okay, so therefore, this may be technical issues which the developer team or the supplier or the vendor would know, and the only answer is you get back to them because I'm not teaching any commercial tool as part of this course. Then subsequently, how can we see that which project is idle for AI and will generate efficiency and tasks which can be automated and management will agree on investments. Perhaps you mean ideal, not idle. That's a typo. So I think you're asking an interesting question because if I rephrase this question as to where an organization should invest in AI and where it should not, that is actually a strategic decision. And hence, there is already a discussion on AI and strategy in the course. Subsequently, I think that's coming up in the next week, AI and strategy. So you can wait for AI and business strategy where we actually connect this, a purposeful uh, way of looking at AI investments and how some management strategic frameworks can also be used for this is a forthcoming session. What are the other courses which you recommend from NPTEL which can further enhance knowledge from technical aspects? Okay, so I will not recommend, but you should search. Okay, so just search NPTEL videos on AI. When you search AI or change it to artificial intelligence, I know a dozen courses will come up. So your job is to at least listen to the introductory video and see what is the focus of that course and see whether it suits your need or not. Okay, and also at what level is that course pitched. Okay, if it is an advanced course and you are a beginner, you should not actually go there first, but do some early introductory courses. So therefore the choice is yours, but the method is shortlist the courses and then listen to introductory videos and understand what is the coverage and then take a decision. Will you share PDF of the current course to prepare for exams? That's really difficult to go every time with recorded videos. Again, I think you're asking for textual. I don't know what do you mean by PDF. Okay, because these are lectures. Okay, so lecture notes, as I said, in the form of uh, audio in text form may be made available a bit later. But what you have now is the video. I think people like video today, and you are actually asking for reading. It's a very little difficult to understand why, because video actually have visuals with it. With it has also text with it, and therefore it is what do you call multisensory learning. When you listen, you also see. If it's PDF, you only have to read. So learning is more effective in the lecture mode or in the video mode, and I suggest that. You may throw some light on LLMs, and I hope that is what I'm trying to do in the early sessions. And if you didn't understand LLM, maybe you should do more introductory courses on LLMs by searching for other possible courses. Okay. LLM stands for large language models, meaning it is different from small projects like text mining, but it trains uh, itself with large chunk of text data. Okay, and it becomes like human-like in conversation. So this is explained in the beginning. What are the major challenges associated with using AI tools in both manual and automated testing? So I think you come from testing background, and therefore the question is related to testing. I don't have a background in testing, and hence I should not answer this question because you're asking a very specific technical question. Okay, but at the end of after doing the whole course, if you get some insights, well, use that. Okay, so that's all I would say here. I want to make agentic AI to work data analysis on automated and mark auto timer for review data sheet. I want to make agentic AI to work data analysis on automated and mark auto timer. I am not able to comprehend your um, question itself, but I think you want to do something which is to apply AI for us agentic tool. I wish you all the best. Go ahead. Please send me the literature lecture material for the exam to prepare that time, sir. It was easy for us to. So please, the same question related to exam material. Videos are available. They also have slides, so make use of it. In India, everyone is an AI manager because everyone is working on the application of AI. I do not know whether this is true, everyone, but a lot of people, like you can say, very few ones are working on training or fine tuning of model. Now, my question is, math part of AI is important for managers. Well, um, I won't say that math is not important, but math is not the only thing that is useful for AI, or particularly when it comes to applications. Okay, there are three aspects that is important, and all the three are, I would say, equally important. Um, One is understanding of the model. Okay, and since model comes from computer science and statistics, these sciences are important. Okay, so that is where, if you can express a relationship of variables in the form of a mathematical expression, then through those symbols and the particular connections you have made among those variables using the symbols, you try understand what is the phenomenon. Okay, so that is the role of math. Okay, so you can comprehend models, you can express phenomena using the language of maths, but that is necessary. That is one aspect. The second is technology. Okay, so we all this cannot be applied, or it can be developed by understanding maths alone. You need technology, particularly software, particularly data engineering, particularly algorithms that are implemented in software uh, fashion, so that you can train the models. Okay, so therefore technology is an integral part of applying AI. Okay, maths and statistics are important. Computer science is important. Technology is important. Okay, so one is the science part, other is the technology part, and third is the domain. Okay, where you apply. So unless you know the business context, okay, you cannot apply. Okay, you know a lot of maths, you know a lot of algorithms, but doesn't mean that you can apply it well unless you understand what are the problems in the domain. So, for example, if you are applying this in investment banking to help firms take investment decisions, so then you need to understand banking or investment banking as a sector, okay, and how do they functions, okay, what are the roles of managers, what kind of decisions they take, and what are the factors they used in their decisions, okay, and how this can be made better using AI. So that is the domain knowledge, okay. So in short, three aspects: domain knowledge, um, knowledge of technology, and then the science. Okay, I will include maths in science. Okay, three aspects. Requesting to know the use of case of agentic AI in BFSI and manufacturing industry. How to propose business benefits them. So this is, you are talking about specific application of a particular kind of AI, which is agentic AI. I regret that this is not covered in this course. Okay, but what is covered is different applications in this course, which you will, of course, learn through case studies. But this particular discussion is not a part of this course. Okay? You may please look for other courses where on AI and business, where you may actually get more information. Um, AI is modeled to perform only specific tasks, and AI algorithm will vary from task to task. um, you know, I think again you listen to more videos as to how this is done. So there is a generic model that you develop, and then you can actually fine tune it for specific applications. So all that aspects will be covered later. Any restrictions on the use of AI applications? Yes, that is what we will be discussing in AI regulation. I'm from a social work background. This course is new for me. How should I use AI in management, as now I am a research scholar at NIT? This is a question you have to find the answer. I can't answer this, but I have already discussed some of related topics in this interaction. Please, I hope you have listened to it already as to how to use AI in management. What will be the pattern of question? Well, all will be multiple choice questions. You actually answer all the questions in the assignment, so you will have some sense of how the final examination will be. Okay, sharing notes, PDF already discussed. I am commerce student. I can understand certain part of video which is technical. How do I deal with this? Also, any reference video or books or website to refer for some practical application of it. I think I answered this question already as to how you can search for more materials. Kindly share the neural networks in a more simplified way. Well, I can't redo this, but I suggest you search for more courses in the platform which may actually deal with introduction of AI. Okay, I'm not taking any repeating questions. Cost of using AI services is very high due to dominance of few large players like Google, Anthropic, etc. How can Indian business firms adopt AI technologies at the optimum cost? Okay, well, this is again a very specific question. Okay, which should actually requires more consultancy or more wide discussions. Okay, whatever is available as reports or as research papers, I'm trying to cover in my course and also towards the discussion on AI risk and AI regulation. Okay. Beyond that, I don't have information, and it's a very dynamic field. And you also have to keep reading government policies that is coming up and how government is also facilitating AI adoption. Okay, that is covered to some extent in the final discussion on AI regulation, and there are a number of references my scholars have created on what is going on AI in the Indian context, particularly government's intervention. Okay. What will be the marks distribution for exam, and is they are negative marking? I think this is about the final exam. We will discuss it towards the end of the course during the live discussion, but now you should be focusing on doing the lectures and also improving your assignment performance. Are we supposed to only pass the exam for getting the certificate? Well, this is a question to the NPTEL team as to what are the requirements for getting the certificate, etc. Please write to them, they will answer. Or a lot of information is already available in the NPTEL website. Please read that. Anything that is available already, please do not post it here. It only shows that you have not read what is given to you. I cannot attend the coming examination this time. Can I register another time for the examination? Again, read about it. Okay, these are rules which is already there. Is it possible for you? Please share the record copy of this meeting to us. I think the live session is also being recorded and it will be made available to you. Up today, the main AI tools learn offline from data and statistical information. Do you believe that these tools in future will directly learn from wide users' answers in real time? Well, you will know that uh, the questions that you pose to Gen AI are also used for training them, right? So it is a continuous phenomenon. A lot of alpha and beta models are deployed so that they can actually see how users are using it, and that data is further used for uh, training the models. Can we Can we note that what you are saying in lecture, but which one is important for exam? I don't know. I want the proper notes for exam. I think we discussed this already. Please learn from the lectures, and then exam is to test your knowledge. Okay. I don't teach for you to pass the exam. I'm teaching for you to learn. Okay. Exam only test your learning. Okay. That is how education is. So the course as passing exam is a very trivial understanding, but I understand you need to pass exam to get a certificate. That is also important. I'm not saying it's not important, but focus on learning first. Only then you can pass the exam. How can we connect with you regarding questions on research? Just few suggestions from you, or we value your time. So unfortunately, we can't share the WhatsApp number, etc., because it's simply not possible to take all the questions of individuals, and therefore this is the forum to place your questions, and we will definitely respond. I will respond when you are asking questions for the live interaction. But for other questions, please do post it on the online forum, and they will be answered. Okay, and I think we will close here unless there are more important questions or different questions. I don't see anything more. Somebody said, I don't understand week 2 lessons. How can I learn it once again? And it's a very vague question. What you don't understand? If you can be specific and you can post it in the forum, we will respond to the specific difficulty. Okay, so thank you very much for enrolling for the course, and I wish you all the best and keep learning. This is extremely dynamic field, and read more than what you are actually learning by subscribing or going to other sites, okay, or reading the materials that are referred in the course. Okay, all the best. Have a great week ahead of you, and see you again sometime very soon.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Hello, anyone from UP? Please tell me. Hello.
Hello.
Anyone from UP?